Welcome to Get Her Cycling, Riding Together, a podcast about how riding a bike can transform more than just your fitness. It can build confidence, connection, and a stronger sense of self. I'm Charlene. This series is a space for women to explore how cycling can support mental health, social connection, and a community leadership. Even if you've never ridden before or haven't been on a bike in decades. Each episode will share stories, skills, and simple ideas to help you ride more often, ride safely, and ride with others. No pressure, no judgment, just encouragement to start where you are. And when you're ready to ride in real life, we'd love you to join us at Advantageous, where we run inclusive cycling programs, group rides, and workshops for women just like you. So grab your headphones and let's ride together. Welcome to Get Her Cycling, Riding Together. I'm Charlene. Today we're talking about something simple but powerful, planning your ride. Whether you're heading to the shops, doing the school run, or commuting to work, a little planning makes a big difference. Let's get into it. When you're just starting out, even short rides can feel daunting. Planning helps. It gives you confidence and removes the guesswork. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just thoughtful. Planning matters for the enjoyment of your ride. So thinking about where you want to go, how you're going to get there. And when I say how, it's not just about the bike that you're using, it's what you're going to be taking with you. So there are a number of apps and resources for you to have a look at. We use Ride with GPS to map out our rides, even our shorter rides. I also use a resource from Transport New South Wales, the Cycle Wayfinder. The Cycle Wayfinder allows us to look at where the shared paths are, as well as the on-road separated paths and those quiet streets. So thinking about where you want to go and how you're going to get there. Is it going to be on the shared path only, or do you need to go onto some quieter streets? One of the things that we suggest when planning those routes out is if there's a busy road that you don't want to ride on, then we suggest looking one block over parallel to that road. Is there a quiet street that you can actually access? And the other thing to look for is the cul-de-sacs. Sometimes the end of a cul-de-sac has a laneway that links into another street or cul-de-sac and makes your ride a little bit more enjoyable. We find that once people become familiar with using these tools and resources, the curiosity starts. And when you're out on a ride, or even if you're moving on public transport or in a car, you'll see these hidden little laneways and you think, oh, where does that take me? And then you get back to looking at the map and start thinking, where will it take me next? And you find where those little laneways and shared paths will actually take you into a new neighbourhood or a new council area. And each council area has a different marking system on their paths. So what you might think is a shared path in one area might be a footpath in another. So looking up the Cycle Wayfinder actually helps you work out those best ways to move around. What to pack when you're going for a ride really depends on your comfort and confidence, but also, I guess, the weather. Hotter months, you want to be wearing lighter clothing so that you're not overheating, and winter months when it's cold, wet, rainy, you might want to pack a rain jacket or some better wet weather gear for you. I quite often will pack a spare set of clothing if I'm going to be riding in wet weather. There's a couple of other apps that we encourage people to look at, and recently we had some storms, and it was a good opportunity to share with our riders looking at the Weather Zone app and starting to look at the radar of what the storm weather was doing. At the time we were looking at the app, we noticed that there was a thunderstorm alert. And there's two different alerts. One's a red one, which is the 15 Ks, you shouldn't be out there riding, and a 30K, which is, I think, a yellow warning. So it's knowing what's happening for the day. You do start to tune into the weather pattern, the rainfall going across the radar, and the timing of when it might be passing. It's not spot on, but it gives you a guide that if you're thinking of leaving home or work, are you going to make it in time to your destination before that rainfall happens? The other one to look at, so we've mentioned the heat, the thunderstorms, wet weather. The other one is the wind gust. So look at your wind gust for the day. Anything over 30 kilometres an hour, if you're riding into the wind, it's going to double the energy, the effort that you're going to put into your ride. So what might take you an hour to do could actually turn out to be 2 hours. So these are little tips that we give to our ladies when we're prepping for our rides. If we've altered the route for any reason, we usually give them that example that it's because we've noticed a change in the weather. Another great app that we look at is Hazards Near Me, and that'll give you an idea of any traffic reports, incidents that are happening. It might even mention any bushfires that might be in the area. So something that's important for us at the moment as we're going into storm weather and bushfire season, we keep an eye on these sort of apps. We often use resources from Transport New South Wales like the trip planner. And what I like about the trip planner is you can put your door-to-door destination into the finder, and it will actually map out a safe way. Most of it looks at low traffic environment. It does show up on the map where the cycleways are or the shared paths are. So you can modify. If you do not want to be riding out on the road, you can see where the nearest shared paths are. But what it's good for is working out the time that it's going to take. When you put your destination into something like Google Maps, it will give you the fastest time. It calculates more at a higher speed or a higher rate of pedaling. And we find that a lot of our new riders are averaging speeds between 7 kilometres for a learner to 12 kilometres an hour for someone who's just built their confidence up and going on short rides. The trip planner will also allow you to choose the speed that you want to go at. So it will actually mark it out as easy, moderate and fast. The easy speed is set at that 12 kilometres an hour. For a more confident, experienced rider, you might be doing speeds of 20 kilometres an hour. So it will give you different timings. We always say when we're mapping out our rides is that we allow for 10 kilometres an hour. So yes, that's a slow speed, but that gives us a buffer that if there's any incidents along the way, we're still arriving on time or near to time. So it's a really good tip when you're actually looking at a paper map or you're looking at those mapping tools online. Now let's talk about planning for riding with children. Planning is key when riding with children, especially to school. Here's what I found has helped. Ride the route yourself. So practice where the path takes you. Work out where those less crossing connections are. Get to know some of the driveway behaviours. Is there a dog that might be in a yard that loves to jump at the fence? By riding the route yourself first, it allows you to become familiar with the surroundings. And it's not just the the path itself and the built environment around it. It's what's happening at that time. Practice riding when you would normally be taking your child for a ride. So if it's a school drop-off or pick-up, know what's going to be happening. Know that there's going to be other people moving around, and that can mean that the path can be congested. So working out how to avoid that traffic congestion of pedestrians or even just traffic coming in and out of driveways nearby. You might want to leave a little later or a little earlier. By choosing fewer road crossings, you're actually limiting the danger of having to wait for traffic in the area. On a recent ride with families, we discovered that the less crossings that we have to make, it actually made it a more enjoyable, safer ride for everyone. It's less stress on the adults, and the children can enjoy a continuous ride along the footpath. The stop and starting seems to disrupt that flow of enjoyment. It's also having that less stress for the parents that is there a car that's going to be speeding by. While it's a good opportunity to teach children the road safety rules and the importance of stopping, looking before actually crossing the road, the less crossings that you do, the more enjoyment for both of you. While it's encouraged that children ride from the age of 10 upwards for riding to school, parents can be riding with children younger. At the moment, we've been encouraging a family to use a half-wheeler tag-along bike. Their child has just learnt to ride, and while they're eager and keen to ride to school, the parents are still hesitant about that safety. So by having that half-wheeler tag-along attached to the back of the parent's bike, the parent's still in control of where they're going and the stopping and starting, but the child is also gaining a bit of balance and control and enjoying being in that moment of riding to school. They can still become familiar with the surroundings and I guess some of those hazards of cars moving in and out of the driveways like we mentioned, and having to slow down and give way to other pedestrians. They're still learning even though they've got that assisted help with the half-wheeler. There's always trailers and cargo bikes. There's other ways to be riding with your child to school. I mentioned before about stopping, looking before crossing the road. So teaching the children to slow down and come to a complete stop. We also encourage them to be able to signal. So that means having the skills to be able to ride with one hand, putting their hand out to signal to others that they are stopping or turning. We encourage this when they are confident enough to ride a straight line and to make sure that they've got both hands back on the handlebars before making a turn. They have more control over the bike if they have both hands on the handlebar. Make it fun. Turn it into a game. You can actually encourage them to stop by calling out red light, green light, stop and go. Kids love to play the games. They actually will learn more through those games. And it's a very common game that they play already at school. Ask them how to play it, and I'm sure that it will be something that you can try on your next ride together. I mentioned earlier about leaving earlier or a little later. Take your time, don't rush. This is about enjoying being outdoors, connecting with nature and being in that moment. Spending time with your child, riding to school. It's actually giving them a independent skill to be able to ride themselves later on. So your younger child doing these rides and becoming familiar with the road crossings, the driveways, what's happening at that time of the day, it's practice for when they actually are old enough to do this by themselves. And we want to set them up with the right habits, behaviours. We don't want to be turning this into a race to school. It is about slowing down and just enjoying the ride. That's why planning is so important, and I hope that I've given you some tips and tools for planning your next ride. I want to share a little story. I've been commuting by bike lately. It's a 25-kilometre trip, but I split it up. I ride to the train, catch it part way, then ride the last bit to the Parramatta Bike Hub. It's peaceful, a great way to start the day. I use the weather zone to check for storms or heat. I also look out for flood alerts or strong winds. Planning when and how you ride is just as important as where. So whether it's the shops, the school gate, or the office, plan your ride. Use Transport for New South Wales Trip Planner, City Mapper, Cycle Wayfinder, and check your local council for bike maps. Your challenge this week: replace one short car trip with a planned ride. Let us know how you go. Share it with To Get Her Cycling. We'd love to see your journey.